Hello, I'm Gordon Lang, editor of CameraLabs.com, and I'd like to give you a brief video tour around the Panasonic Lumix DMC FZ50. Here it is, the FZ50 is the successor to the earlier and very popular FZ30. Headline improvements include high resolution, now 10 megapixels, high sensitivity up from 400 ISO to 1600 ISO, and there's even a 3200 ISO option in the high sensitivity preset. There's also a widescreen movie mode, which can fill your widescreen TV with great quality video. And Panasonic's also slightly tweaked the rear flip-out screen. The FZ30 could do this, but now the FZ50 can do that, which is very handy if you're doing self-portraits, although not so handy if you've got it mounted on a tripod because it won't quite fit. Of course, the main reason people will buy the FZ50 is the same as its predecessor, namely this large 12 times optical zoom lens. Now this gives a massive zoom range equivalent from 35mm for those wide-angle landscape shots all the way up to 420mm, which is quite a significant telephoto range. Now this is brilliant to have this all in one product because you could at one hand be shooting a landscape wide angle, then suddenly see some action in the distance, maybe a bear running past or a golden eagle flying overhead. You can zoom all the way into 420mm and you've got your shot. It's great whether you're into wildlife, sports photography, or even want to have a bit of fun as paparazzi for the day. And you'll also notice that when I zoom in and out, the lens barrel doesn't extend. So it's a really compact product. Of course, hand-holding any lens at an equivalent of 420mm is almost impossible. The camera shake would be terrible, but because it's the same lens system as its predecessor, the FZ50 includes optical image stabilization. This really effectively combats camera shake, and we've got an example of that in just a minute. So, to see how the FZ50 performs in practice, let's pop outside. Okay, we're outside with the FZ50. Let's see how long it takes to power up. Just under a second, that's not bad. Now the nice thing about having a live display like this is that you can overlay various graphics on it. Press the display button once and you'll see a wide variety of shooting information appear along the top. Press it a second time and you get a live histogram on the right hand side. Now this graph is really handy if there's very bright sunlight on the screen and you can't really judge whether the exposure is correct. Press it a couple more times and you get a grid overlaid on the screen. This is really useful if you're the kind of person who often gets your horizons a little bit squint. The other thing that's quite neat is by pressing the function button here, it brings up a context-sensitive menu running along the top of the screen. With this, you can adjust things like the autofocus, the metering mode, here the white balance, maybe the ISO, let's put it at 400. Press it again. Bring it up, you can adjust the resolution here, and even the compression setting. It's really handy to have direct access to all of this information without having to delve into menus. Now of course the really special thing about the FZ50 and the FZ30 before it is its massive optical zoom. So here we are, zoomed all the way out, and I'm now going to zoom all the way in. As you can see, it's pretty impressive. Now of course you'll notice something going on here. I'm shaking a little bit here. But of course the FZ50 can compensate for this using its optical image stabilization. So I'm going to switch it on here. Put it on mode 1 here, and you can see immediately this is still zoomed all the way in. You can see it's looking completely steady. If I turn that off, you can see how I'm shaking quite a lot. This is incredibly handy if you're using this long zoom. The best thing about the FZ50 is undoubtedly its 12 times optical zoom lens with stabilization, and it's really important to realise what that would require if you wanted to match it with a digital SLR. First of all, you'd either need a very large, very heavy and expensive lens that probably wouldn't even offer as good quality as this product, or multiple lenses with the inconvenience of carrying them around, changing them, and of course the possibility of dust getting inside the body when you do change them. With a sealed product like the FZ50, there's no such worries. It's extremely convenient, you just throw it in your bag and your suitcase, and you're ready to go. Of course, these benefits were already present in its predecessor, so what exactly is new and worth having about the FZ50? Well, the jump from 8 to 10 megapixels is not a particularly significant one in practice, and probably more of a marketing exercise to compete against the latest digital SLR resolutions. The increase in sensitivity to 1600 ISO is very welcome over the FZ30, but as you'll see on the results pages of our review, noise levels do get quite high at high sensitivities with this camera. Panasonic combats this using noise reduction, but that in turn can smear out ultimate detail. So if you're the kind of person who regularly shoots at very high sensitivities and really enjoys zooming into 100% on their screen or making very large prints, then this probably isn't the camera for you. You'll be much better served with a digital SLR that has much better performance at high sensitivities. If however you're the kind of person who shoots predominantly at 100 or 200 ISO, and it's perfectly possible to do this with this camera because thanks to the image stabilization you can shoot under quite dim conditions with quite slow shutter speeds and still enjoy a sharp result. So if that kind of sounds like the kind of photography that you do, the FZ50 can be a really flexible product. The zoom range and the stabilization is fantastic. To buy this product you're looking at about $600 in the US or about £450 in the UK, but it's important to note that the things that are best about it are also present in its predecessor, the FZ30. So have a look out for older FZ30s that are being sold by shops. You may well find a bargain. For full information on the FZ50 and how it performs against its rivals, please visit www.cameralabs.com.